We had been freed by the Emancipation Proclamation physically. The shackles supposedly had been taken off our physical beings. But yet, we were still slaves in a civilized government and a civilized world. Not until 1913 did our people ever hear the resounding of the truth of Allah's will being taught and told by Timothy Drew Ali.
The Moorish Science Temple of America, founded in 1913 by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was the first Islamic organization established in the United States. The Prophet was born in 1886, several years after emancipation, the 15th Amendment, and Reconstruction, a time when people were searching for a better quality of life.
We are living a way of life that is inspired by the lofty teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the teachings of the how to practice principles that one must follow if he or she is to develop the character that's required to show submission to the will of God.
The Moorish Science Temple of America is concerned with the liberation of myself as well as my people. It teaches me that I am first not a Negro, that I'm not black, that I'm not colored, that I'm not Ethiopian nor African American. It teaches me that my race is Asiatic. It teaches me that my nationality is Moorish American.
During the time of Prophet Noble Drew Ali coming to the Moorish Americans, we were already a subjugated people. We were beat down, we were taught to look down and be submissive to man.
We were taught through slavery to hate ourselves as well as others.
But the Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us something that would take us totally out of that type of way of living. He came with something that would remove that and replace it with something that we had from the very beginning of time, and that was Islamism. Islamism means peace.
And Islam, is confused nowadays by the masses as being culturally specific to the Middle East. Prophet Drew Ali taught us Islam, or brought to us Islam as our divine creed, but he also brought to us our nationality, our national identity. Nationality, from the legal definition, is that quality of character that arises out of a fact that a person belongs to a nation or a state.
When people say, how important is nationality? Then take a walk on the Parkway. On the Parkway, yeah, and then you'll see. And go stand under your standard of your ancient mothers and fathers.
The Prophet established the Moorish Science Temple of America for the express purpose of uplifting fallen humanity and to teach its members to be better citizens. Between 1913 and 1922, he began teaching the fundamental concepts of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Newark, New Jersey. By 1925, he migrated to Chicago, Illinois, where he established the first temple, Temple No. 1. 2 years later, he published the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which was used by missionaries to establish subordinate temples throughout the country.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he would directly raise missionaries. He would teach them. He would instruct them along the lines of religion and science.
The first member that was sent to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania was Brother T. Thompson Hill. Brother T. Thompson Hill was originally dispatched from Chicago, Illinois, and sent to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where he assisted in establishing Temple No. 3.
Once he was successful in firmly establishing that temple in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali sent him here to the city of Philadelphia.
So he sent Brother T. Thompson Hill in October of 1927, and he labored here for 11 months.
And he stated that he would suffer the last drop of blood to be called from his body rather than fail to erect the Moorish Science Temple of America. There were people who used profanity against him and used all types of tactics so that he would be unsuccessful. However, because of his unwavering faith and trust in Allah, his firm reliance on Prophet Noble Drew Ali and his teachings, he was successful in galvanizing many so-called Negroes here in the city of Philadelphia. The Prophet came right here to the city of Philadelphia, July the 31st, and stayed a week. And Friday evening, August the 3rd, he established Subordinate Temple number 11.
I think the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was at Broad South or something of that nature. But he had pitched a tent, and I believe the tent was near Tinley's Temple.
Brother Spurgeon Smith Bay, who was a member of Temple number 11 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, brought the news to us to Glassboro, New Jersey, 1932. That's when I first heard about the temple. And we became, my father, I was 12 at that time. My father joined, and the rest of the family joined along with him.
Two important aspects of the Prophet's message were economic security and a deep appreciation for womanhood. Prior to the Prophet's passing in 1929, he ensured that women fill leadership roles such as business owners and temple executive officers, and that businesses were created to support a temple's surrounding community. Many of the early temples were able to survive major world events because they had businesses attached to them.
That was back in the 50s, from 46 all the way up until something like 68, 65. They had stores all down 20th and South. They had a lot of businesses, you know, mom and pop stores. They had a warehouse with different kinds of groceries and stuff, you know. So the Moors was well known throughout Philadelphia, especially, like I say, down South Philly, because they wore their fezzes, and that's all everybody known about was the red fezzes that they wore.
I'm revisiting my residence as a child of 4 years old. I haven't been here in 63 years. Everything is totally different. But this is where I first encountered the Moorish Americans. I lived with my aunt and my uncle. Across the street, right over here, it was called Naomi Bay's Hat Shop. And my aunt and uncle lived over top of the building. We were on the second floor. And I remember my mother and my aunt in conversation. My aunt was my mother's sister. And they were in conversation, and they would refer to the Moorish Americans as those people wearing those things on their heads.
Business was good, but membership fluctuated due to challenges among the leadership after the Prophet's death. Meanwhile, life in America continued to be shaped by the economical, political, and social actions that led many of the current elders to seek out rights and the meaning of identity.
I proclaimed my nationality August the 16th, 1968.
October 11th, 1972, I nationalized in the Moorish Science Temple of America.
And I proclaimed my nationality December the 18th, 1970. We were in the revolution era. The focus was on blackness at that point in time.
Back in the 60s, it was a lot of gangs, was gang warring and whatnot. And we used to do a lot of fighting, mainly by hands more so than shooting and stabbing, but it was a lot of fighting going on.
We grew up when the police cars were all red. And the meat wagon, we didn't call it a paddy wagon, we called it the meat wagon. You know, I've seen people get shot down. I've seen women get beat. You know, grandmothers, pregnant women, you know. So I was really one of them type of people. I came from an era that seen a lot of things, right? When I came home in '71 out of the military, there was a lot of reactionary feelings at this time before I became aware or heard the sounds and teachings of Noble Drew Ali. So when I heard the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, I was stunned. You know, it was really a big impact on me.
When I came into the movement, what impacted me was the brothers that I had ended up being with, the brothers that I had surrounded myself to, that had proclaimed their nationality, who believed in the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali wholeheartedly. We took things very serious during that time.
With the passing of the Civil Rights Act, desegregation, and a growing indulgence in material excess, the stage was set for people to make more choices than ever before. It became more acceptable for people to defy moral standards and teachings, resulting in many straying from temples and churches.
Life then shows up. What I mean by life then shows up is the things that goes on around us. Crack cocaine showed up. Then alcoholism showed up. You know, it took a lot of people then outside of their comfort zone. So a lot of people then wanted that. That then instead of this. 22 years ago, I was a drug addict. I used drugs constantly. My life has changing drastically. The things I used to do, then I stopped doing. And I was in the process of recovery for 5 years. And I realized that it was a void I needed something more spiritual. I was searching, and a friend of mine that told me to come down here to the Moorish Science Temple of America.
When I joined the Moorish Science Temple of America, I was in a certain low ebb, meaning I was in a low state. I knew it had to be something different than what I was experiencing, but I just didn't know what. But I came into the Moorish Science Temple of America. When I came into the Moorish Science Temple of America, fortunately, I met people who were dedicated to the great program. And they inspired me to be serious about this.
Well, the Moorish Science Temple of America is important to me because it allows me to be myself. It gave me principles that I knew nothing of until I heard the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I was taught that those principles by itself can help raise a nation.
The prophet is a thought. He's a thought. And if you can identify with this thought, the thought will cause a transformation in your life. And then as you start to change your life based on this thought, you will start to be able to understand the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That he as a thought manifested in flesh to be a pattern so people could see it, to be an example.
The Moorish Science Temple of America has been in existence for more than 100 years despite trials and tribulations experienced by its members, particularly in Philadelphia.
So one of the hurdles that we're working with now is we have a great Moorish revival going on now, where there's a huge resurgence and interest in the Moorish movement. But we now have to aggressively inject the real knowledge of what Noble Drew Ali did. So what that is programming. If you know we did it in the past, it could be done again in the present.
Here in Philadelphia, when I first joined, it might have been 5 to 7 members. Now it's over than 35 to 40 members in any given night. So, you know, that is progress.
Over time, you know, like right now, being a Moorish American, I can't stress how it has given my life even more a depth of meaning. And that now, like I said, legacy time, it's time to pass these teachings on to our children, to the babies, so that they will not go through the things that our forefathers went through by not knowing their name and nationality. And this is where we find the weight or the fight has been worth it.
My life has changed due to the fact that I now know and understand that I am striving for purity in life. And I know that only through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will I accomplish this mission. And I know that I'm on a mission, and I know I'm on a journey. And with the blessings of Allah, and with Allah sending a divine prophet to give me these divine instructions, I know my way. I will make my way back to the Almighty Father God, Allah.